The world of royal jewels is filled with beauty, history, and silent stories that are never fully spoken aloud. Among all the famous pieces connected to the British royal family, one stands out not only for its sparkle, but also for the emotion it carries. It is known as the Spencer Tiara. At first glance, it looks like a stunning diamond headpiece, but behind its glitter lies a deeper story of family heritage, memory, and mystery. Over the years, one question has quietly fascinated royal watchers around the world. Why might Catherine, Princess of Wales, never wear the Spencer Tiara? The Spencer Tiara was not originally made for royalty. It belongs to the Spencer family, one of the oldest aristocratic families in Britain. For generations, it was passed down as a family heirloom, worn during weddings and special occasions. It was never part of the official crown jewels, and it was never meant to represent the monarchy. Instead, it represented family identity, tradition, and pride. But everything changed in 1981, when Lady Diana Spencer wore it on her wedding day to Prince Charles. That single moment transformed the tiara into something far greater than a piece of jewelry. When Diana stepped out on her wedding day, wearing the Spencer Tiara, the world saw a real-life fairy tale. She was young, elegant, and full of hope. The tiara shimmered under the royal lights, and for a moment, everything seemed perfect. That image became one of the most iconic royal wedding moments in history. The tiara was no longer just a family treasure. It became a global symbol of innocence, love, and dreams of a perfect royal life. But as time passed, the fairy tale slowly turned into a story filled with struggle, pressure, and emotional pain. Diana's life in the royal family was far more complicated than the world first believed. After Diana's tragic death in 1997, the Spencer Tiara gained an entirely new meaning. It was no longer just a beautiful wedding accessory. It became a memory frozen in time. For many people, it represented both the beauty and the sadness of Diana's life. It reminded the world of a woman who was deeply loved, constantly watched, and ultimately lost too soon. From that moment onward, the tiara was emotionally connected to her legacy in a way that no other jewel in the royal collection could match. Years later, Catherine, Princess of Wales, entered the royal family. She became one of the most important modern figures in the monarchy and was often seen wearing elegant tiaras from the royal collection during official events. However, one thing remained noticeable. She has never been seen publicly wearing the Spencer Tiara. This absence quickly became a topic of curiosity. People began to wonder whether it was a matter of choice, tradition, or something more emotional. One important reason often discussed is simple tradition. The Spencer Tiara does not belong to Crown. It belongs to Diana's family line, the Spencers. This means it is not automatically available for use by other members of the royal family. Unlike royal tiaras that are stored in the royal collection, this piece remains privately owned. Because of that, it is usually worn only on very specific occasions and depends entirely on family decision and permission. But beyond rules and ownership, there is also an emotional layer that cannot be ignored. The Spencer Tiara is deeply connected to Diana's identity. It is the same tiara she wore on one of the most important days of her life. And Diana is not only a historical figure, she is also the mother of Prince William, Catherine's husband. This connection adds emotional weight to the jewel that goes far beyond its material value. Wearing it could be seen as a powerful tribute, but at the same time, it could also carry emotional complexity that is difficult to express publicly. The royal family is known for keeping silence on personal choices, especially when it comes to jewelry and private symbolism. Because of this silence, the mystery continues to grow. Some believe Catherine may wear the Spencer Tiara in the future during a significant royal moment, while others believe it may remain untouched, preserved as a private family heirloom connected forever to Diana's memory. In the end, the Spencer Tiara is not just about diamonds or royal fashion. It is about history, emotion, and legacy. It connects generations, linking the past to the present in a silent and powerful way. Whether it is worn again or never seen in public again, its meaning will remain unchanged. It is a reminder that in the royal world, some objects are not just worn to be seen. They are kept to be remembered. And as this mystery continues to live in public imagination, the story of the Spencer Tiara becomes less about whether it will be worn again and more about what it represents in the modern royal era. Because in the royal world, Meaning is never just attached to objects. It is attached to timing, to emotion, and to history. Every appearance of a jewel sends a message, whether intended or not. And when a piece carries the weight of Diana's memory, even silence becomes meaningful. Over the years, Catherine has carefully built her own identity within the royal family. She is often seen wearing tiaras from the royal collection, pieces linked directly to queens and monarchs. These jewels represent continuity, duty, and the formal structure of the monarchy. They are part of a system that belongs to the crown itself, not to individual stories. But the Spencer Tiara is different. It does not belong to that system. It belongs to a family, and more importantly, to a memory that still feels very personal to many people. That difference creates a quiet distance between tradition and emotion, between official duty and private heritage. This is why the question remains so powerful. If Catherine were ever to wear the Spencer Tiara, it would not simply be a fashion moment. It would instantly become one of the most symbolic appearances in modern royal history. It would connect 3 generations in a single image, Diana, William, and Catherine, through one shared piece of history. The world would interpret it in countless ways, some seeing it as tribute, others as legacy, and many as a deeply emotional gesture. But at the same time, that is also why it remains and used in public. Because symbolism in royalty is never light. Every detail is analyzed, every choice is interpreted, and every appearance becomes a story on its own. In such an environment, even a beautiful gesture can carry unexpected meaning. There's also another layer to the silence. The Spencer family itself holds a private connection to the tiara. It is not simply a royal artifact. It is a family heirloom that existed long before Diana became a global figure. That means its use is not controlled by palace tradition alone. It also respects the wishes and decisions of the Spencer lineage. This adds another level of privacy to an already sensitive symbol. And so the tiara remains where it is safe, preserved, and untouched in public view, not forgotten, but carefully held in a space where history and memory meet. In many ways, the Spencer Tiara now exists as a bridge between 2 worlds. One world belongs to the past, to Diana's story, to a young woman stepping into a royal life that would change history. The other belongs to the present, to Catherine, who represents a modern version of the monarchy, shaped by different expectations and a different era. And between those 2 worlds lies silence, a silence that speaks without words. Because sometimes in royal history, what is not worn carries just as much meaning as what is. As time moves forward, that silence around the Spencer Tiara only becomes more noticeable, almost as if the jewel itself has taken on a life beyond physical form. It is no longer just a headpiece stored away for special occasions. It has become a symbol that exists in memory, media, and public imagination all at once. Royal history is full of objects that carry emotional weight, but very few are connected so strongly to a single figure as this one is to Diana. That connection is what makes every discussion about the tiara feel personal, even for people who never knew her directly. It represents a moment in time when the world believed in a modern fairy tale, and later watched that fairy tale turn into something far more complex and human. For Catherine, stepping into that legacy has always meant balancing respect for the past with building her own path. She is often seen in public wearing carefully chosen pieces from the royal collection, each one reflecting tradition and continuity. These moments are not random. They are part of a larger story the monarchy tells about stability, history, and duty. But the Spencer Tiara sits outside that structure. It is not part of the crown jewels, and it does not belong to the royal institution in the same way. It lives in a space that is more personal than official, more emotional than ceremonial. And that is exactly why its absence feels so significant. The truth is, royal jewelry is never just about appearance. It is about meaning. Every tiara worn in public becomes a message, whether spoken or silent. So when a piece as emotionally charged as a Spencer Tiara is not worn, that absence itself becomes part of the story. Some royal watchers believe that one day, during a major royal milestone, the tiara may reappear, perhaps at a moment of remembrance or a historic celebration or a generational shift within the monarchy. In that imagined moment, the world would instantly recognize its significance. Cameras would not just capture diamonds and design, but layers of history connected in a single frame. Others believe it may never return to public view again. that it may remain exactly as it is now, protected, private, and preserved as a family heirloom tied forever to Diana's memory. In that view, its power comes not from being seen, but from being remembered. And perhaps that is where the real mystery ends, or begins, because the Spencer Tiara does not need to appear often to remain important. Its story continues every time it is mentioned, every time it is remembered, and every time someone wonders about it. In the end, the tiara is more than gold and diamonds. It is a quiet echo of history, carried through generations. And like many things in royal life, its greatest meaning may lie not in what is shown to the world, but in what is left untouched. And so, the story of the Spencer Tiara does not end with a decision or a ceremony or a public appearance. It ends the way many royal stories often do, not with answers, but with quiet meaning, because this tiara was never just about who wears it. It was always about what it represents. A young woman named Diana, stepping into a future she could not fully see. A family heirloom that became a global symbol. A memory that never faded, even as time moved forward. And now, in the present, it exists in a different form. Not as something that demands attention, but as something that holds it. A piece of history that has already lived its most defining moment, yet continues to live on through remembrance. For Catherine, and for the royal family as a whole, the weight of such symbols is never measured in diamonds or design. It is measured in emotion, in timing, and in respect for the past. Some pieces are meant to be worn again and again. Others are meant to remain still, so their story can stay untouched. The Spencer Tiara belongs to that second category. It is a reminder that not everything beautiful is meant to be seen often. Some things carry their meaning most strongly in silence. And sometimes, the absence of a jewel can speak more powerfully than its presence ever could. So the mystery remains, not as a question waiting for an answer, but as a story that continues to live in memory, between history and the present, between Diana's legacy and the future of the monarchy. And perhaps that is its true legacy. Not that it will be worn again or forgotten, but that it will always be remembered.